Let's become legends in this episode of my Pokemon Black walkthrough. Hey guys, I'm DioGenZ. Talk to this dude for free $50 water. That's right, otherwise it would have cost you 50 Pokedollars in the vending machine, so get the free water while you can. Anyway, in this episode of the Black walkthrough, we are in Opelucid City at the gym. And we're going to challenge this gym and bring it on down to its knees. Gonna make Dragon Pokemon look foolish with my ice cream cone. That's right. My little Vanillite. Vanillite? Yes, it is Vanillite. Vanillish! Sorry. Vanillite is another form of it, but still learning the names, even this far down the line. Taunt's not going to do anything but make us go on the offensive, which we already were. And we're going to make this gym look so pathetic that we don't need to go back to the Pokemon Center, and we don't need to speed up any of the battles. Okay, the thing about this gym is that you can't go back to the Pokemon Center. You still can go, and nope. You're just about trapped there, I think. I don't believe you can go back to the Pokemon Center in this gym, although I did just see perhaps a way that might prove that wrong. So anyway, we won't be doing that though, because I want to do this all in one episode and show you it's quite easy to sweep this gym. This gym's not difficult when you have the right type on your team. And I had been foreshadowing this gym a couple episodes before, so don't say I didn't warn you. Ice-type Pokemon and Dragon-type Pokemon are the types. There is really nothing else that you can properly take out all of these Pokemon as fast as I am than using that type advantage to work with you. Of course, if you do use a Dragon-type move, or a Dragon-type Pokemon more or less, you do have to worry about the disadvantage of your Dragon being weak to this gym's trainers, and of course Drayden at the top. And if you are playing white version, the only difference here is going to be in the gym, you're not going to fight Drayden at the top, but Iris. And yes, they do have the same Pokemon, so no difference there. But everything else in the gym is the same. So even though white version is more about nature, and black is about the city technology element that humans have ushered in, it doesn't affect the gym. Not really. Maybe the outside of the gym, that's about it. But all the fighting styles are the same. That would be something interesting, though. Come to think of it, I don't know why I didn't mention this before, but if in the different versions of the games you would fight the same trainers, however, they might have separate AIs, meaning their intelligences would be different from each version, and it would make each version unique to play, and therefore make it desirable to get both versions, other than just the promise of both legendary Pokemon. Because that's about all I've been seeing the Pokemon Company do for over the past few years. They're now starting to get a little bit better in Black and White, where they're implementing elements that are exclusive to each version. But I really want to see two different versions of Pokemon. And I want to see them take place in the same region, yes, and maybe they can have co-tangential storylines, but I would like it to be giving me a reason, other than just Pokemon I could get over GTS anyway, to be in one game as opposed to the other. I was actually a little disappointed, I'll admit, that they didn't keep the city/nature theme running throughout the entire game of Black and White. Now, this is not to say that I don't like the games. I think they've done a fantastic job with weather, seasons, the whole thing, night cycles and day cycles, the whole thing feels fantastic. But, that said, I thought that they would run the nature versus technology theme a bit more hardcore in all the cities, and it wouldn't just be Opelucid City in both versions, and it wouldn't just be Black and White, or Black City and White Forest in both versions. But, you know, that didn't happen. Could we expect more? Well, if there was a third iteration, I suppose it'd be more of a fusion, but that could be cool in itself. You know, I think I really like the elements that they implement in many areas. You know, when it comes to weather, we definitely, if I can get my game to change back to winter within a reasonable time. Speaking of winter, you frozen, bitch. But if I can get my game back to winter in a reasonable amount of time, I have to show you what happens at Icarus City. It's very interesting. There are snowdrifts there, and I think it'd be cool if more kind of weather-implemented seasonal puzzles were placed into Pokemon. You know, I can't be complaining. I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying I want to see more of it. I like it so far, and I want to see more of it. So it's requests for more, not so much complaints. But, you know, it's looking good, and it's working well so far as prototype versions go in Black and White. You have different Pokemon you meet in different seasons, like the Deerling, and then you have their form changes. You know, let's see if we can get another set of grass Pokemon to change. You know, maybe others will, and maybe there will be different types that evolve in certain areas. I always like that. That was interesting with Eevee, in that it could only turn to Leafeon or Glaceon in a certain area of your map in whatever region you were in. I thought that was always a cool element. And I like when they do those sort of things. It's kind of off the cuff, and it throws you off the beaten path of the average Pokemon player. The average just beat all the gyms and get to the league. And you've got to be kidding me. What, do Drudgen have some kind of affinity towards being frozen? That's beautiful. I don't think my Vanillish has even taken any damage yet. That's fantastic. Level 42. But damn. And no, we won't be learning Hail. Hail isn't really a great move. It's kind of like Sandstorm. And unless you have a team that's based on Sandstorm, or unless you have a team that's based off of Hail, that's really going to get some sort of benefit from it, there's not much sense learning it. It's kind of just an annoying field move that, in the end, will undoubtedly hurt your team, too. But if you do want an annoyer, maybe you have a Ice-type Pokemon like a Beartic that's more of a wall, stall-type Pokemon, and if you teach it Hail to whittle down your opponent while you just boister its attacks and then maybe launch some of your own powerful Beartic moves, then that could be used as a feasible strategy for that. But otherwise, it's kind of those annoying field moves and other types that I don't use often in main RPGs. It's almost like it used to be with me and Leer. Any time when I was younger, this has definitely changed as my skill level has gone up in playing the game. But I used to completely ignore supporter-type moves such as Leer, any type of Poison Powder, Leech Seed, anything supporter-based, I would ignore. And sure, it ended me up with a complete game when I was younger, and back then I was running Cyndaquil in Crystal, so the noob that I was, I didn't even know I wasn't that good. Cyndaquil is probably one of the easiest starters to raise, and it allows you to get through the game as fast as possible by just spamming pure power, and maybe not perhaps raising a full team of Pokemon. So that's what I used to do. But it's a lot more interesting, and I do see Black and White specifically actually making and forcing players to work in those supporter moves. You know, I definitely believe that it's some programming of the Pokemon Company sense, because when I go back to Crystal to do that walkthrough in in the same timeline as I'm doing Black, I notice the differences, and a lot of it does have to do with pure power back in Crystal. I don't think there was an EV training system back then, so it was a lot of leveling up, it was a lot of experience grinding, and who had the most powerful level plus moves plus evolution form. That's also something I found by doing the Crystal walkthrough is increasingly important. That isn't so much in Black and White if you've got a good team around it. And the increases and advantages that have been made since Crystal to Black and White, the generations past, and improvements on the series that have been made are incredible. You know, they're 100% tenfold and excellent. The fact that we no longer have to scrounge for TMs anymore, that is such a great mechanic. You know, we finally are versing each other again, or versing each other finally in a cyberspace and meeting each other for the first time online through GTS and the Battle Without Friend Codes mechanic in Black and White. It's excellent, and it's a lot further than Crystal. But I don't think back then it mattered so much. to do those supporter moves. And I think that big time now. Well, you know what? Maybe it was a playstyle. I shouldn't say that, because I guess I could have played Crystal a lot more supporter-esque, but I don't know. It's a toss-up. It does seem that in this version, in Black and White, they seem to be wanting to push the player to integrate more members and kind of expand their team than what their base knowledge of Pokemon might be, and whether that's with all the gifts that they give out, like the gift Pokemon with the elemental monkeys, or even the gift items like Lucky Egg. Lucky Egg, back in the day, used to be looked at as a pretty big meta game item, used for getting fast experience points after you fully EV trained your Pokemon, and you just wanted to get to level 100 to see the maximum results. That's what it used to be for, and now it's just a mainstay item that's out in the open. You don't have to work towards it by going through grinding the battle tower for battle points. It's just there, and Professor Juniper hands it to you herself. So in that respect, I really do feel the Pokemon Company's coming a long way in realizing there are more people who want to switch over to advanced play, and more people who appreciate having those advanced items at their disposal for the main story. And with that, you can make it a bit more challenging, and with that, you could have better gym leaders, like, even though this one doesn't seem to be, because we're opponing everybody with our Ice Cream Cone Vanillish here, but Ice Cream Cone's for the win. But, you know, they can make stronger trainers, and they can make tougher Pokemon like Drudgen here. Drudgen is a begrudging Pokemon to go against if you do not have the right type advantage against it. And even, let's see how much Night Slash does. Yeah, so it does some significant damage. You didn't see Ice types coming, really? Ice types being one of two of Dragon Pokemon types' weaknesses, type disadvantages. You didn't see Ice type coming? I don't believe that. Especially in Unova. You've got such an amazing Ice type. Another Ice type that you could have brought here is Cryogonal, which I believe you could find in Twist Cave. And Haxorus is an awesome freaking Pokemon. Dragon dancing all the way. Looks like an ancient dinosaur to me, with axes and body armor on itself. It's pretty freaking sweet. But it won't stand too tough to our Ice Cream Cone, but you could have brought Cryogonal here, you could have brought a Beartic, which evolves from Cubchoo, which you have a lot easier time finding Cubchoos in the winter. So that's something that people really note about this gym in general, is that if you didn't want to go to the cold storage and raise a Vanillite into Vanillish like I did, there aren't too many Ice-type options, and maybe you didn't like Drudgen, so not too many Dragon-type options. And you would have a lot easier or more difficult time, depending on the season that you came here, if it was winter or summer. If it was summer where Ice Pokemon were scarce, you may have a hard time at this gym. But come back in the winter, when there are Ice Pokemon abound in all the grasses and caves around, then you may find this guy a lot easier. Or Iris, could be a girl if you're playing White version. And with that, we've received all 8 of our Unova badges. It's pretty epic, guys. We've completed all of the gyms. And we get Dragon Tail as an extra boost, so that's pretty awesome. What is next, people, but becoming a hero? We have the Legend Badge, so let's unlock our legendary Pokemon. It's time to head to the Pokemon League next. It's past Route 10, and that's where we're going in the next episode, so I'll meet you guys there, and hopefully we can unlock Reshiram.